Okay guys, excited ako para sa video na ito kasi probably ito na yata ang pinakamatindi na gaming laptop na marireview ko so far. Presenting the MSI Raider GE76 Deluxe Edition, which is equipped with the Intel Core i9-12900HK and NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 Ti laptop GPU. Ano nga bang feeling ng may ganitong kalakas na gaming laptop or pwede nga bang replacement ito for a gaming desktop? Let's find out. Let's take a look at what's inside the box. You'll see na premium agad ito at first glance with its special packaging unlike other gaming laptops. And if you bought the deluxe edition, meron na din siyang kasamang MSI gaming mouse and headset. Inside the box, of course, is the laptop and the huge 330-watt power brick, which would be necessary to power both the powerful CPU and GPU inside the laptop. The MSI Raider GE76 2022 now comes with a 12th gen Intel desktop CPUs. And with our unit here, which is the deluxe edition, it comes with the highest spec Intel Core i9-12900HK, RTX 3080 Ti laptop GPU, 4K ultra high definition display at 120Hz refresh rate, 32GB of DDR5 memory and 2TB of NVMe Gen 4 SSD storage. So sa specs pa lang, alam na nating high-end ito. Sa design, there's not much to talk about. I love the color, they call it titanium blue, which is parang dark gray na may konting shade ng blue. Medyo maiba lang ng konti sa conventional dark blacks. Along with a matte finish which is not attracting smudges or fingerprints, so okay yun. An embossed MSI Dragon badge is also there at the back of the screen instead of the usual MSI text logo. And perhaps yung pinakatakaw pansin is yung Aurora light bar, which is yung mahabang RGB LED bar sa harap which can be synced across the per-key RGB keyboard through the SteelSeries app or MSI Mystic Light app built in. Aside from that, the design is simply appropriate for a gaming laptop sa panahong ito. Yung build niya is solid. Of course, for its price, it should be. Minimal flex on the deck and screen, it seems matibay ang material na ginamit. Hinge can be also open and closed with one hand and weighing at almost 3 kilograms without the chunky power brick. Medyo mabigat na ito if you're going to consider always on-the-go approach or frequent traveler ka. At the bottom, you'll see the honeycomb pattern intake holes for the Cooler Boost 5 fans, with tall rubber feet para maiangat yung laptop for the fans to suck fresh air in. Sa bawat gilid, you also see the exhaust vents where the hot air would go out. For the display, the Raider GE76 is available in 3 configurations which are all 17.3-inch, but you can have either Full HD 1080p with 360Hz, Quad HD 1440p with 240Hz, and the one that I have here, 4K Ultra HD with 120Hz refresh rate. All are equipped with IPS level panels and honestly, the colors do look good. Outdoor use at direct sunlight, okay naman, maliwanag pa rin siya. May visible glare pero konti lang, makita mo pa rin naman yung details. Viewing angles are also good and the details are very crisp. Syempre dahil 4K display ito at this size, and like I said earlier, colors are nice but you can calibrate it further or customize it with several profiles using the pre-installed MSI TrueColor software. Meron itong several profiles for your display such as gaming, movie, DCI-P3, sRGB, Adobe RGB, and so on. If you're into content creation which requires these color spaces, okay ito. Upon testing, we've seen that it really has high color gamut coverage for each display profiles, with Adobe RGB at around 89%, sRGB reaching full coverage, and DCI-P3 color space, which is mostly used at cinema applications, is at 99%, which is impressive for a gaming laptop display. Brightness reading, however, is at around 500 nits, so it's quite a surprise treat. If you're into competitive gaming, I'd rather pick the variant with a 1440p display as I think it is the sweet spot with a higher refresh rate at 240Hz and better frame rates. Pero if you're into high-resolution content and not that high refresh rate, then mas okay itong 4K UHD variant. On the keyboard, okay siya for typing, sakto lang yung sizes of the keys niya, and the key travel is quite fine for casual typing, although feeling ko medyo mabigat siya ng konti i-press. But that's just personal feeling lang. There's numpad of course, and per key RGB illumination, so highly customizable ito, either using the MSI Mystic Light application or the SteelSeries Gear app na naka-install na din, where you can have more lighting effects which you can sync across the Aurora panoramic light bar as well. Sa trackpad naman, although it works pretty well, registering accurate gestures and tracking, medyo naliitan ako considering the laptop size, so better use that included gaming mouse. Webcam is at the top ng display alongside the dual array microphones. Despite the fact na 1080p yung resolution ng webcam, medyo di ako satisfied sa quality niya, but for casual video calls, okay na siguro yon. The microphone has noise cancellation features built in, so you can remove unwanted background noise gaya ng fans, but it makes the voice sound so muffled. If you disable it, okay naman yung mic. So I'm testing the microphone of the Raider GE76 Deluxe Edition, and the built-in webcam set to 1080p at 30 frames per second. Speakers are apparently surprisingly good. Meron siyang dalawang 1-watt speaker and dalawang 2-watt woofer sa loob courtesy of Dyna Audio. That's why the audio sounds loud and clear. Although syempre, dahil maliit lang yung woofers, medyo bitin pa rin sa low end. Okay na ito for casual sound trip or listening. It can be compared to usual Bluetooth speakers. For the connectivity options, medyo marami na rin. At the rear, we have one mini display port, one USB Type-C with Thunderbolt 4 and DisplayPort output, one 2.5GB LAN port, one HDMI port, and the charging port. On the left side, we have a Kensington lock, a battery LED indicator, one USB 3.2 Type-A, one USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C with DisplayPort output, and 3.5mm combo mic headphone jack. Then on the other side, we have two USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A ports along with the SD card reader. Wireless options include Wi-Fi 6E as well as Bluetooth 5.2, so next-gen wireless connectivity inside. Other features of the Raider GE76 Deluxe Edition include the sophisticated cooling courtesy of MSI's Cooler Boost 5 technology, with both the CPU and GPU interconnected with 6 heat pipes and 2 large fans. I'd recommend turning Cooler Boost 5 on when you are executing heavy loads such as rendering for maximum performance, or even while gaming, lalo na if you're in the ultra high settings, so that it still cools the hot things enough and prevent thermal throttling. There's also the MSI Overboost, which would unleash all the power of this beast. You can enable this by going to the MSI Center app and then selecting the Extreme Performance Mode profile in the User Scenario option. The MSI Center app also houses a lot of other customization options, as you can see. Pwede kang pumili from the app's module on which to install and customize, such as Mystic Light RGB, game modes, and even monitor your basic hardware stuff and see information about it. Battery-wise, meron itong 99.9 watt-hour battery, which is a huge for a gaming laptop. So in our estimate and test, usually pag gaming ka on battery, it might not last you for 2 hours. But if light or moderate usage lang, you might be able to reach 3 to 5 hours with this at the very best, kung gagawin mo lahat ng uri ng battery saving na alam mo. Of course, gaming laptop pa rin ito, so expect it to be powerful, so the battery life being this long is already a bonus in itself. As far as I know, there's the option to upgrade the SSDs and the memory, as it has 2 slots for NVMe drives and 2 replaceable RAM slots. So okay siya for upgradability, lalo na if the initial configuration of 2TB SSD and 32GB DDR5 isn't still enough para sa'yo. For the software, it comes with a Windows 11 Home as well as some pre-installed MSI app which are quite useful, gaya ng MSI Center, MSI Truecaller, the SteelSeries Gear app, and the MSI App Player, which you can use to emulate Android apps, and the Nahimic Companion, although may mga bloatware din na gusto mo agad tanggalin gaya ng Norton Antivirus at iba pa. Since trial version lang ang mga ito and is not useful lalo na pag nag-expire na. In terms of performance, we have high expectations due to the fact that almost all of the high-end hardware we know for the laptop so far are inside. Core i9 12900HK, RTX 3080 Ti, 32GB DDR5, 2TB NVMe SSD, you name it. So kaya bang i-handle ito ng laptop? The answer is yes, it can. Of course, thermals would be the first talking point, and syempre, if the fans are not turned max, may thermal throttling since the Core i9-12900HK would easily reach its max clock speed despite being seemingly limited to 45 watt of power by default. Although I think pwede mo itong i-override sa BIOS since unlocked chip ito. Thermals are handled pretty well with the Cooler Boost 5 cooling, so okay yon kasi most of the time I'm worried about these Core i9 laptops with excessive thermal throttling due to the cooling solution being not enough for those powerful CPUs. Which means sustainable ang gaming performance nito for longer sessions. So we ran most of our tests with the Cooler Boost being enabled so that we can see the maximum possible values this laptop can give. When gaming, we have stable thermals of around 80 to 90 degrees for both the CPU and the GPU, even if the GPU is at 100% utilization in most games. Hindi ganun ka-significant yung thermal throttling niya, so it's fine. Parang pumipitik-pitik lang siya sa peak times then settle down on that 80 to 90 degrees range. Walang stuttering on most games, which indicates the hardware inside can sustain it. For the benchmarks, we have a handful of games, all of which I tested in 4K, highest preset available, except F1 2021, where I tested a few resolutions such as 1080p and 1440p as well in ultra high presets para lang may idea din kayo. As you can see on this graph, you can even enjoy the game at 4K with ray tracing on. Although you will only get 71 FPS average, but turning it off, you will get 97 FPS. You can play with the preset and also DLSS so that you can get more FPS. But there's also 1440p with 147 FPS average and 1080p with 185 FPS. The others were also known heavy game titles tested at ultra or highest preset at 4K. So it means easy to drive titles would be a no-brainer dito. Kayang-kaya. We have Need for Speed Heat, which got 61 FPS average, PUBG with around 71 FPS average, and also Apex Legends, which had an average of 102 at the highest settings available. So kayang-kaya nito yung mga AAA games, lalo na pag binaba mo ng konti yung settings to just high. 3D Mark Far Strike gets us an overall score of 25,319, while Time Spy got 13,072. Cinebench R23 gave us a high score of 18,416 on the multi-score benchmark. Habang sa single core naman, we got a score of 1,844. Blender on the other hand, here are their scores which are now strangely defined by samples per minute instead of a seconds. For our last benchmark, we also tested a sample Premiere Pro project file for encoding with Adobe Media Encoder for a 14-minute 4K timeline with a several color grading, effects, and transitions. We have rendered this project for around 10 minutes and 9 seconds. So mabilis ito lalo na kung same-day edit ang labanan. In my opinion, I think this is one of the most powerful gaming laptops so far, with the specs inside such as the latest 12th Gen Intel Core i9-12900HK and the RTX 3080 Ti laptop GPU. I'm sure it can be a substitute to a gaming desktop lalo na kung portability is your main concern. Although, you'll be expected to pay more upfront for the portability luxury. Pag naglalaro nga ako feeling ko desktop na yung gamit ko. Aside from that, the MSI Raider GE76 Deluxe Edition has some great features inside. The performance is quite good, kaya halos lahat ng ibato mong laro or application, kayang-kaya niya i-handle. There's options for displays and specs configurations so may pagpipilian ka. Kung content creator ka at gamer or kailangan mo ng powerful machine at work, probably isa din ito sa pwede mong maging option. Although like I said, medyo mabigat ito so better keep that in mind when traveling with this. There's also the freebies when you buy the Raider GE76 Deluxe Edition such as the MSI gaming mouse and headset, which you can also use while gaming. I mean, if you can't afford this for the price of 272,995 pesos, I'd strongly recommend it. So there you go guys, this is my review of the MSI Raider GE76 Deluxe Edition. So there you have it, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Xtian, so like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video.